full time. Doing gang things, living super clean. That done came up. Can't control us. One time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. 1 time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. Look at you done came up now. Get it how you live, mess the game up now. Ain't messing with yoga, but get the flame up. Hey, used to be Toby, but got your name back now. I see ya, paid under pressure. 25 lighters, got them all on the dresser. If it ain't for you, ain't for you then. If you a lame or a sucker, wanna dress you then. Grown up now, bump the childish ways. Got a wife and a bunch of kids to raise. Punch a clock side, hustle or a business you endure to ensure that all the bills is paid. Slow clap for your homeboy, could've turned out like your homeboy. Been on the same block, cooking up the same rock on the cell block lot with your homeboy. But no, you had vision, you had gold. Brand new you on the old time road, take care. Home where you bust your low. Black men don't teach, screaming Bondi ho. Real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, boy, you PD grade. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. 1 time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the folk that have moved up. Even if you had a slow start screwed up. Used to gang bang, now homie brewed up. Had a little plan, I had them blew up. Look at you like a man right now. Dressed to the T, smelling like a grand right now. And you ain't got nothing from a handout now. Just faith and hard work gets it planned out now. You could've took a bunch of dusty rolls. The hand dealt with a bunch of cards to fold. To stay hot while the world is freezing cold. The same plot, but the story's never old. Slow clap for your kinfolk. Could've been asking what your info. Prosecutor could be trying to do you in for the 2020 twins, so you passing out the info. But no, you had purpose, you had plans. I ain't throwing nothing, I'ma say these bands won't impress y'all, don't need no fans. That ain't my God, who is that man? This real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom while you peep these grades. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. 1 time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. Yeah, real man. Sheesh. Yeah. Doing cane things. Living super clean. That it came up.
1 time for my king doing king things. Mom these hoes cause he know he got a good thing. I submit and I cook and I clean and I never hold back on that pop. I'ma let it rain. Made me honest, I got a rain. All praises to the most high, let it sing. A real man able, sister never came. And I ain't going nowhere, this is not a game. Look at you, girl, you lonely right now. Settling for bums instead of men the most high. He provide and protect so he get our respect. And he leading us aboard when them chariots fly. I don't really think you hear me though. You can't cross this bridge on some billy goats. Let them save you in the end like a Seminole. Beers help me, shout it, let the silly go.
1 time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up.
Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins, and praise the Lord, saints. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mana. Let me figure out how to make the hair slap go longer. Good evening. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad you're here. Let me adjust my mic volume. There we go. All right. My bad. I got me a little fan, y'all. Okay. So I done bought my fan down here so I ain't gotta be hot. Happy Thursday to you. Shalom. I hope you had a wonderful day. All praises for bringing us through this day. Please allow me to introduce myself. I go by Miss Miles Rose, Content Creator Streets, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all the places that content creators be. If you're not at the YouTube, please head over to the YouTube at Monologue Magad, MONOLOGMAGAD. I go live there every Thursday, and you can also see past podcast episodes. You can check out some of my husband's great body of work. And all that is there on the YouTube at Monologue Magad. Okay. All right. Like, share, and subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you know when we go live. All right. I'm not gonna lie, I struggled with a topic this week, going back and forth about a few different things. And listen, I love supportive sisters, right? I love my sister group chat. Because I was talking to them yesterday and I was tossing between the titles and they helped me land on one. So boom, here we go. Okay, so shout out to my sisters. If they are not here, they will be here later. Okay. All right, y'all. So what happened was I saw a story on Facebook. And I don't know why it like struck me. I think it's because unfortunately I have been seeing a lot of these types of stories, and I was just like, why are we doing this? So in the story that I saw on Facebook, Angelina, shalom, sis. Thank you for joining me. So in the article, a mother had the police called on her. And her neighbors called the police on her because there was an awful smell coming from her apartment. I mean, one of the neighbors said the smell was so bad she couldn't even go in her apartment. I think she lived upstairs from the lady. So the police come and she's telling them, oh, it must be some bad food. I need to clean up in here, blah, 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 blah. Of course, they do a search and they found a baby who had passed locked in the closet, a 10-month-old baby locked in the closet. The baby had passed. But the baby had been there so long that her body had started decomposing and she had flies and maggots on her. It was a really horrendous scene. So of course they took the mama to jail. And now that whole thing is going to play out. And with the direction that we have been going in lately with our talks, I felt like this was an important issue to address, right? Because lately we've been speaking on us as individuals, us as women, who are aspiring to be virtuous. We're aspiring to be righteous. Okay. And a part of that has to do with how we treat our children. Okay. And I was a little hesitant because I'm like, I don't want to assume everybody's a single mom, but everybody is kind of like a single mom. There are a lot of single mothers out there. Okay. So I feel like we need to nail down how we're treating our children before we go out looking for a husband. Okay. And even if you're like, well, I don't want a husband. Okay. But we still need to talk about how we're treating our children. Okay. It is sad to say that the most dangerous place, there's a saying, and I hate it, but there's a saying that the most dangerous place in the world for a Black child is the womb of a Black woman. Because unfortunately, we are more likely to have we are more likely to terminate a pregnancy than any other race. Okay. So I was chat GPT in the statistics. For non-Hispanic Black women, so us regular Black American women, there are 28.6% abortions per 1,000 women, the highest among racial/ethnic groups. Hispanic women are 12.3 per 1,000. Non-Hispanic white women make up 6.4 per 1,000. And women of other races make up 9.2 per 1,000. Now, these are among reporting areas, 41.5% of all abortions were among non-Hispanic Black women, even though they comprise a smaller overall share of the population. How do we manage to do that? How do we manage to be the smallest percent of the population, but have the highest statistics and all the horrible things? It's crazy. Okay. But so let's start there. Right? Let's start there. And I know the argument lately has been my body, my choice. If I'm not ready to have a kid, I shouldn't have to have one. I shouldn't be forced to have a baby. You're infringing upon my reproductive rights. I hate the term. I hate when they say infringing upon my reproductive rights because no one is stopping you from reproducing. Your reproduction and murder are like complete opposites. So I'm not sure how people advocating for you not to murder your baby is infringing on your reproductive rights. Okay. Secondly, unless this is a case of assault or some other form of abuse, you willingly lay down to have sex. Now, I understand that we live in 2025. And I was listening to this Jubilee episode with Candace Owens and what are they, like 20 feminists or something like that. And one of the points that one of the feminists were making was, sex doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't have to have any special meaning. We can just do it for connection. It doesn't have any meaning, but I do it for connection. Anyway, so we've reached a point now in our society where sex means nothing. It's just a thing to do. It's just a hobby. It's just an activity. Okay. And so we're laying down, we're having sex, and just like any other thing that's fulfilling its purpose, people get pregnant from having sex. Okay. I know that if I drink this water, which I'm going to have to use the bathroom later. I know this before I pour the water, before I take that first sip. I know that this water is going to make me have to use the bathroom. Okay. There's nothing I can do to stop that. I don't know when I'm going to have to use the bathroom, but this water has to come out. So I'm going to have to use the bathroom. Okay. I don't know where we got to the point where we just refuse to acknowledge sex for what it is. Okay. The purpose of sex is to connect a man and a wife who have already made a covenant between themselves, the Most High, and their family. Okay. The purpose of sex is also to reproduce human beings. That's what it's for. Now, and here's another thing I don't understand. Like, when did the birth control stop working? When did birth control stop working? When did the pills, the ring, when did the birth control stop working? Because that is the number one argument about why they have to get an abortion. Oh, the birth control don't work with my body. So maybe wait to have sex until you don't need birth control. You don't like, you don't have you what am I trying to say? Because I don't want to say you don't have a right to have sex, because yes, you do. Like, I feel like that falls under the whole life, liberty, pursuit of happiness situation. So nobody can stop you from doing it, but you don't have a right to sex without impunity. You don't have a right to sex without the consequences that occur, just like anything else in life. If you keep driving your car and you see the needle moving toward the E and you don't do anything about it, your car is going to run out of gas and you're going to be stranded on the side of 285. There's nothing you can do to stop that. That's just the way things are. We have become so, I guess, wrapped up in our technological advances that we feel like that we are no longer subject to the laws of God and nature. We all sat through sex ed. You all know how it happens. Okay. And I just don't for the life of me understand how we keep going through the same situation. We keep having this same crisis in our community. And instead of somebody saying, stop, we need to do something different, it's like we just pile on and make it more and more. Brianna, Shalom, Shalom, thank you for joining me. Okay. And so, okay, say the baby makes it out the womb. Praise be, the baby made it out the womb. When you all are having these babies, you need to understand that it's only going to be the cute little baby for a few months. For a few months. That baby's going to, let's stop right there. Hold on. Because from the moment you have the child, you're in such a fog from pregnancy, childbirth, labor, delivery. You're in such a fog for the first few weeks anyway. Okay. So this whole fantasy that we're fed of, oh, I'm going to have my baby and I'm going to be a wonderful mother. The education on postpartum depression and other postpartum mental illnesses has let us know that it's not always like that. And unfortunately, there's no way to predict what your postpartum period is going to be like. And unfortunately, as Black women, a lot of our mothers don't have that specific story to tell us. They were too busy working. They didn't get to enjoy their whole 6 weeks. So they had to get back to the job. So there was none of that for them. Okay. So we have no idea what's in store for us. We just go and have this baby. And unfortunately, when you have a baby as a single mother, and I'm telling you, because I've had babies as a single mom and I've had babies as a happily married mom. And I'm telling you, going through having a baby as a single mom is traumatizing. It's traumatizing, okay? Your husband, your other half, the man who is wildly in love with you and has committed his life to you is the one that is supposed to be there to support you through that. And yeah, your mama and them can be there, but it's not the same. You don't get the same emotional fulfillment. You don't get that same bond. It's not the same relationship and experience as it is with your husband. But you guys don't wait to get a husband to experience that. There's a reason that we're called to order and decency and to doing things a certain way. This is because that's how it's supposed to be. When you I just had to explain, I think Atticus and my husband was in the living room, and Atticus had asked my husband something, or he asked me something, and I answered for my husband. And so Atticus was like, Mommy, how you gonna say that? I was asking Daddy, and I was like, Daddy is me and I am Daddy. And he's like, what do you mean? You're not a boy. So I was trying to explain to a 7-year-old the whole, when you get married, you become one situation. But when you're going through something like labor with your other half, the support is totally different. Man, I can't explain it to you. We keep cheating ourselves out of the fulfillment that God intended to us because we are so hell-bent on staying in sin. You're not supposed to do everything by yourself. You were never meant for that. You were never meant to be pregnant, battling morning sickness, and still having to get up and work 10, 12 hours a day. You were never meant to do that. You weren't meant to have a baby and then have to go back even after 6 weeks. When I had Atticus, at 6 weeks, I was in the midst of a thyroid issue. I had developed thyroid disease, and then I went right into perimenopause. I often sit back and wonder what would have happened to me if I would have had to go to a regular job feeling the way I was feeling. Because it's not a physical ailment. People can't look at you and know the emotional turmoil or the hormonal storm that you may be going through. And unfortunately, we live in a world where money is the bottom line. So if you can't come to work and do your job like you're supposed to, okay, now you're losing your job and you're on a whole nother path of issues. I don't know why we aren't taught to think of our children before they are born. And I kind of blame I have to blame the feminist agenda for convincing us that we don't need to have kids in the first place. Like, your life will be fine if you never have children. And so therefore, what point in your life do you need to prepare for having children? Like, at what point in your life do you need to sit down and be talked to about the environment that you set for your children, the home that you built for your children, even the financial situation that you're bringing your children in? We don't stop to think about these things. Again, we don't stop to think. We don't stop to think this sex could result in a child. We don't stop and think, I'm not on birth control. I shouldn't be doing this. I grew up in a church where they would say, listen, you're not supposed to have sex until you get married. But if you're going to do wrong, at least do wrong right. At least protect yourself. At least use a condom. At least make him treat you with some respect. At least make him feed you. You know what I'm saying? It was all these, well, if you're not going to do this, at least do this. But in 2025, I'm starting to think that maybe that wasn't the right message. Maybe it wasn't the right message. We started compromising because we started seeing that people were just going to do what they wanted to do. So let's compromise on the message so they'll feel okay sitting in church. And I feel like that was the wrong message, because it has not improved. Our situation has not improved. If anything, our situation has gotten worse. And the jobs don't care. They barely want to accommodate medical notes from the doctor, even while you're pregnant. They don't care. Like I said, it's all about their bottom line. So if you're in there holding up their production, they're going to find somebody else. Yes, we have FMLA and all that, but how many of y'all know that a lot of these states are what's called at-will states? And so even with all your FMLA protections and everything else, as soon as they get you back in there, they can fire you, and they don't have to really have a significant reason for firing you. Well, I just get on unemployment. Unemployment is only a portion of the money that you were bringing in. So if you are already struggling with your regular paycheck, I guarantee you that unemployment ain't going. We like to quote the love is, right? And maybe that's the problem. Maybe we don't know what love is. But we sure love to quote this scripture about everything that love is. Hold on, let me pull it up because I want to get it right. Okay. And here's the thing. The first thing it says is love is patient. Patient means I'm going to wait. It even means I'm going to wait on the right man to lay down and procreate with. You are making choices that are going to affect your child for the rest of their life before they are born. You know how they like to tell us that we as women carry all the eggs? See, yes, they will fire you on FMLA. They do not care. A woman has all the eggs. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Runner. So they tell you that a woman has all her eggs in her body at the time she's born, right? So, and I was thinking about this the other day, like, so technically my grandma, I was developing inside of my grandma. That's crazy, right? But being that that's the case, Why don't we focus more on preparing the eggs that are going to turn into people for a better life? A lot of us watch these social media influencers and these reality stars, and they love to tell the stories about, oh, I was a single mom and I hustled and I did this and I did that. And that's all well and good. But I have to be real with y'all. Those are like exceptions and not rules. Okay. The general rule is you prepare yourself for a good life. You get your education, you get your trade, you get your skills. You do what you got to do to secure an income and to provide for a family. But some of y'all don't do that. You don't get past the school part. And listen, teenage pregnancy has been a thing since time immemorial, okay? Even back when they wanted us to get pregnant as teenagers for us. Up until now. I remember girls being pregnant when I was in high school. That's not an excuse though. Like we can't keep using that as an excuse. I got pregnant as a teenager can't keep being an excuse for not being a full parent to your children, because when those kids grow up and they're lacking emotional regularity, they're lacking empathy, they're lacking kindness, they don't have any self-control. When all of these things happen, you can't go to the jail after they done locked your son up and say, well, I was a teenage mom and I was a single mom, and none of that matters. And y'all can sit here and argue with me all day. Statistics and reality will show that children fare better in a two-parent home. Why don't you care enough about your kids to give them that? And here's the kicker. You're not caring about your children and setting them up for a struggle. You're setting yourself up for your own struggle, right? But here's what's going to happen. Hopefully your kid will look at your struggle and decide, you know what? I don't want that for my life. Let me get as far away from this as I possibly can. And then you're sitting up there wondering, well, what happened? Why don't he want to be around me no more? The life of a single mom is stressful. Having to deal with finances by yourself is stressful. And you were never meant to do all of this alone. So you're getting up, you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And then you're supposed to come home and deal with a child, maintain a home, make sure this child does their homework, studies for their tests, gets their extracurricular activities in, socialize, okay? Because you got to drop them off and pick them up from everywhere. So you got to make sure they socialize, make sure they're well-rounded, make sure you're on top of them and where they are at all times. You're going to stress yourself out. When you are stressed, and we hear this all the time, us as Black women, when we are stressed, that comes out as anger. It comes out as defensiveness. It comes out as, oh, what's wrong with her? And again, then you wonder why nobody wants to be around you. How come as soon as your kids turn 16, 17, 18, they walk out the door and they never come back? You're wondering why. It's too late to cry after the fact. Here's what I'm saying. When that child is 20, 21, 22, and you sitting up all lonely, it's too late. And a lot of y'all, even when your kids become adults, you will not talk to them and you will not tell them the truth. Listen, I wasn't the best mom. I can admit that. I had a lot of my own stuff going on in my head. Like, it was a hard spot to be in. Me and 3 girls. It was hard. But once my children came of age where they felt like they could express their feelings to me, I had to sit and listen to them. I had to let them get it out. We had to talk about it. I had to be truthful. A lot of the stuff that they say, I don't remember. Why? Because I was in the trenches trying to make life happen on a daily basis. But no, you can't go back and change what happened, but you can help them deal with it now. Just like I tell y'all, like your trauma is not an excuse. It can be a reason. And so let's deal with it so that you can control the behavior. The same way you want that for you, why won't you give it to your children? Why won't you give them that fresh start in their mind? Why won't you give them that reconciliation? You don't want to be bothered. You don't want to be bothered. You don't want to be bothered. I was listening to a speaker, and he was talking about, friends and family, and he was saying how annoyance is the price you pay for community. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Annoyance is the price you pay for community. And I had to really think about that because it's hard having a lot of people that depend on you. And I know my husband deals with it way more than I do. Like, I deal with this house and, but he has a lot more going on than I do. And I know that it can get frustrating always feeling like someone needs you. I understand that. But what you have to remember is these kids are only going to need you for a short time. 18 years, 21 years. Yeah, it sounds like it takes forever. But as someone who has a set of 20-year-olds and then a 10 and a 7-year-old, let me tell you something. Them 20-year-olds grew up fast. Sure, when we was in it, it seemed like it took forever. It seemed like the days was long as heck. It seemed like it was never going to end. Like, when is my life? Yes, it seemed grueling while I was in it. But now when I look at them, when we all, what I'm saying, having Sunday dinner, it's crazy because it's like, wow, I can't believe these are adults. And so what I'm telling you is, yes, it seems crazy while you're in it. And yes, it seems like they always need something. But I want to remind you that, Lord willing, you're going to get older. Lord willing, God be good, you're going to get older. You're going to need people to take care of you as well. And see, this is the problem with us telling women that they don't need families and that they don't need children, okay? It's not, it can sound crazy, right? Because, you just have children so they can take care of you when you get older. That's the natural order of things. No, that's not the only reason you have children, but that's definitely like one of the benefits of having kids. Knowing that someone's going to be there with you when you get older. But when you convince a generation of women that they don't need husbands and that they don't need children, now you have a bunch of elderly women out here with no protection. And then what y'all gonna be? Elder abuse. Somebody needs to help us. Nobody cares about the elderly. If you would have thought about that in your 20s and 30s and settled down, you wouldn't be in this situation that you're in right now. We have fallen into the lie that families are just so stressful and children are just such a burden. And nobody needs that. And so now what you have is a bunch of binge drinking, pill popping, drug addict, alcoholic women who wouldn't even who have forgotten how to even relate to men because they've been so convinced that they are the only priority. It's so bad that some of y'all will cut your kids off because they don't follow your program. They don't do what you want to do. One thing that is going to tear your relationship up with your children is when you try to live vicariously through them. I know because my mom did it to me and it caused some issues with us. It caused some issues with us. They don't be elderly no more, just old and dusty stuff. I mean, that's kind of how they do it. But it caused issues. Okay. So, but what you can do is you cannot take your regrets out on them. Right. Now, don't get me wrong. I warn my girls profusely. All right. But I can't make their choices for them. They have to make their own choice. Okay. And I have to accept that. But y'all don't even care enough. Y'all don't even care enough to live vicariously through your kids. What am I talking about? We are we are just so caught up in the world that we live in now. The world of technological advances, the 2025, I can go to my phone right now, order it on Uber, and it'll be here in less than an hour. I can go on Amazon and get it in less than a day. And if I can't get it on Amazon, then I can go to Instagram. I can get anything I want to me in pretty much less than an hour. Why ain't God answering my prayers right now? I don't want to wait for a good man. I don't want to work on myself. I don't want to do the compromises necessary to build any kind of healthy relationship. And I have to tell you that it seems to be that if you cannot figure out how to make a relationship work with another adult, you're not going to fare much better with a child once that child starts coming of age and having their own mind. And I'm here to tell you that it's not at 20 something, it's at 2. Once that child can start looking around and figuring things out, you should hear some of the stuff my boys say to me, right? It don't be crazy. It don't be disrespectful. They just be observant. One time me and my husband were going on a date and I had on some heels. And when you walk out my house, you walk down a set of stairs on the porch, you cross the path, and then there's stairs up that lead you to the driveway and into the street, right? So we are walking up the second set of stairs and I'm holding on to my husband and who said something? Was it Paxton? I think Paxton was like, "Why are you holding on to that like that?" And I was like, "Because it's hard for me to walk in these heels." So Paxton looks at me and said, "Well, why do you wear those shoes?" Was he 7 or 6? He might have been 6. This might have been a while ago when he did this. And so I think about little stuff like that, like little questions they may ask or little comments they may make. One time, like Paxton is very no nonsense. Like if something is just obvious to him, he's gonna say it. One time I was walking with my child, my oldest child, and Paxton was walking with us. And so I had on the leggings with the pockets. And Paxton had his phone in his pocket. It fell out his pocket. I was like, "Give me your phone. I'll put it in my pocket." Give me your phone. I'll put it in my pocket. It's bigger than yours. So I'll hold it. So he looks at me and he's like, "Yeah, your pocket is bigger than mine." And I was like, "Paxton, are you trying to say I'm fat?" And he was like, "Why do you think I said you're fat?" And he was like, I said, "Cause I said my pocket is bigger than mine." And you said, "Yeah, it is." And he was like, "No, Mom, your pocket is bigger than mine. Why do you think you're fat?" Right? So when I was little, you kind of really couldn't talk to adults like that. Like I know my mom didn't really play that. Like it wasn't a lot of free conversation. You know what I'm saying? And so if you would have said something that could be misconstrued as disrespect, now all of a sudden I'm getting slapped, I'm getting cussed out, you're yelling at me, and I don't know why. I was just making an observation. Okay. But our kids have this freedom to question us respectfully. That's the rule in our house. You can ask questions, but they have to be, you have to ask them respectfully, and we will answer you truthfully. You have to understand, though, no matter how much you tell a kid to shut up, you're not going to stop their mind from working. You're not going to stop the wheels from turning. Like when they see you tell them, don't lie, don't lie, don't lie. But every time they turn around, you lying to somebody, what message are you sending? And again, you feel like, oh, I got time, I got time. They not old enough, they not old enough. Sis, they're old enough. Just like how you walk around the house saying your choice words and then your kid get out the street and repeat those choice words in front of the wrong people, they're old enough. They're observing, they're learning, they're seeing your patterns. They're seeing what you teach them. And I'm telling you, I have to be very careful, especially as the person who educates my kids, because they're watching me. And so everything that I tell them not to do, I can't do either. I don't know what was happening. Somebody wanted me to go somewhere. It might have been one of my kids or my mom. And it was just one of them days where I was like, I don't want to do nothing, which is a lot of days for me. But this was one of them days in particular. And I was like, I don't want to do nothing. I'm just going to chill. Like, I don't want to go nowhere. But I had just finished talking to Atticus about not lying about something. I don't remember what happened, but we were talking. I was talking to him about the importance of not lying so that people can trust you and blah, 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 blah. And so one of the kids called or they came over and they wanted me to do something. And my mind, I started to lie. Like, oh, well, I'm busy. But here's Atticus, and I just told him not to lie. He knows I'm not busy. He been in the house with me all day. He know what's going on. I love him enough to do whatever I have to do to not lie in his face. I love him enough because I love him enough. I want him to understand how important honesty is, especially as a man. So even if it costs me something, I'm not going to lie in his face. You're not just raising a kid up to go to school and get out of your house. I don't understand this soulless kind of detachment. I can't stand these kids. I'll be ready when they grow up and get out my house. Huh? Why did you have them? Well, I just laid down to have sex. And see, that be y'all answer. And here's the problem. And listen, I told y'all, I'm never coming in judgment or condemnation, only empathy and warning. Okay. I have given birth to 5 children. Paxton is the only planned child. My 10-year-old, he is the only child that was sat down, that was talked about, that was discussed. You know what I'm saying? Like me and my husband sat down and we talked about it, and then we had Paxton. And then like 2 years later, here came Atticus, but he wasn't planned either. Okay. So I'm not saying like, oh, y'all wrong. No, you are wrong. But I'm not trying to browbeat you. I'm not trying to punch down on you. But like I tell y'all all the time, until we get to the point where we can accept where we are now and accept the responsibility of why we are in that situation, we're never going to be able to change anything. We're never going to be able to change anything. We're never going to be able to own our stuff. Y'all like this. Oh, I own my truth. Do you really? Just because you don't feel like you deserve the best that life has to offer does not mean that you should subject your child to a second-rate existence. All the things that you wanted, like I remember being little and wanting my dad, wishing my dad was around, hating it because I felt like my mom couldn't relate to me and I wish my dad was around. Like I remember all of this. And so it was never my intention to be a single mom. I wasn't just out here having kids out of wedlock. I have one child out of wedlock, okay? It was never my intention. But some of y'all are becoming single moms on purpose. You're out here listening. You're listening to the rhetoric of women who have resources to pay for other people to raise their children. And I'm not saying that's okay, but dang it, at least somebody is raising these kids. Y'all don't have enough money to have a nanny, to have a night nurse, to have a babysitter, to have an au pair. And so your child is being left to be raised by YouTube, Roblox, Fortnite, whatever other digital entertainment is behind the screen. Stop listening to advice from people who have never and will never live your life. A lot of these black people that you see on the screen, a lot of these even a lot of black politicians, they don't come from the hood. What is wrong with y'all? They don't let real hood people on TV in any kind of respectable manner, right? So in particular, there's this one lady, Ebony K. Williams, and she's like, I think she's a judge. I know she's a face in the black community, right? So a few years ago, she like purposely became a single mother. She got pregnant and stuff like that. Okay. But what you have to, again, like I said, this lady's a judge. Her money long. She can afford to hire the help. These people also usually have generational wealth. She's a judge. Her daddy probably a judge. Her mama, there's something there when you are looking at these people that they put in front of us as an example of black womanhood. You notice it's never regular everyday people, right? And I get that that's for a reason, because I don't want to tune in to see regular everyday people living like me. I don't want to tune in and see somebody struggling to pay their bills. That's depressing. I don't want to watch that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I get that they try to put these aspirational people in front of us, right? But when we peel back the layers and we see all the fraud charges, all the fraud arrests, the interpersonal issues, can't keep a man, always chasing a wrong man. Let's talk about y'all girl Portia. Y'all love y'all some Portia. She done been through a baby daddy and a husband. And well, we still love her. They only show us the examples of everything wrong. It's never the stay-at-home moms. It's never the regular car driving, regular house living, every day. It's never those women who are put up before us. And even when they are, there's always an answer to why they are wrong. Some people will listen to this message and feel like there's absolutely no need for it. Women can have it all. We can do everything. And like I tell y'all every week, you can have it all, but not at the same time. Not at the same time. You're not going to do it all well. It's like when you work in two jobs, right? If you only had to work one job and could conserve your energy for that one job, then you would do that one job well. But because you have to have two jobs, and now you're splitting your energy, not just between these two jobs, but everything else that you have going on in your life, now you're not doing anything well. Your house is dirty. The laundry is piled up. You need to go grocery shopping. You keep running late to your second job. They done wrote you up. You barely can stay awake on your first job. It's just a matter before you get caught sleeping in the bathroom or something. You're not supposed to be living like this. I was listening to, who was I listening to? I think I was listening to Tasha K. And she was talking about how in Florida now they have reinstated corporal punishment in schools. So as long as they have permission from the parent, they can paddle your child now in the state of Florida. And I must say, as a child who spent time in a private Christian school and got paddled a few times, I'm not mad at this, and I definitely think they should bring that back. I'm not mad at it, right? But there will be parents who will say, "Don't nobody else get to touch my child. Don't nobody else need to discipline my child." Then the child get home and act up, and then you want to call the police. Then you want to have them committed. When do you sit down and ease your mind and focus on your child? You done self-cared yourself into debt. You can't get another facial. You can't go get another BBL. You can't get another set of implants. Another bag is not going to cure you. Another pair of shoes is not the answer to your problem. And my grandma had this saying when it comes to her kids. She used to tell them, you came looking for me. I didn't come looking for you. And I cannot tell you how bass backwards that was. I literally did not come looking for you. You literally had the sex to make me. So how did I come looking for you? And see, I think the problem with a lot of us is that a lot of our parenting comes from parents who are not that far removed from slavery, from the civil rights era, from having a stressful life, from poverty, from struggling. And I can tell you that parenting in poverty is different than parenting when you got a little money. It's very different. You look at your child as a burden when you are parenting in poverty, because now this is another mouth that I have to feed. Now I have the stress of not just making sure I eat. Now I got to make sure this baby eats. And now I have to try to provide some type of stable environment for this child. Whereas if it's just me, I can couch hop, sleep in a car, sleep on a bench or whatever. But now I got this baby. Your parenting cannot keep coming from a place of, I don't want to say oppression, but it kind of is. It kind of is. And while I don't necessarily agree with, I'm not going to say I don't agree with gentle parenting. I'm going to say that it can go too far. I'm not saying absent parenting. There's a difference between gentle parenting and absent parenting, okay? So when I'm talking about gentle parenting, I'm talking about like, okay, today I was washing dishes and I was looking for the little Dawn spray and I couldn't find it. And so I was already a little flustered because I had been doing school all day and I was just ready to sit down. So I'm like, all right, let me clean my kitchen. Let me cook my food. That way I can sit down and rest a little bit before my show. So I can't find the Dawn spray, right? So I'm walking around the house. Who got the Dawn spray? Who got the Dawn spray? It's in the bathroom. And Paxton comes up to me. He's like, it was me. I took it because I was asking who had it. He was like, it was me. I took it. And I was like, why? Why'd you take it? But while we were having this exchange, I was thinking like, if this would have been me, I would have got slapped because why you moving my dish detergent? Nobody told you to touch it. Like I would have been told off and I would have probably got slapped. But that's not my response to him. It's just like, all right, hey, I explained to him, listen, when mommy is doing her housework and I'm looking for something, when I don't find it, it can be kind of aggravating. So can you just use this other soap? To me, that's what I mean by gentle parenting. Because regular parenting for me involves a lot of cussing, a lot of hollering, and a lot of hitting. Okay. And I don't have to raise my kids like that. I don't have to. And now as a 44-year-old mom, I I understand why that was often the response. Looking back at my mom and her sisters and how they all had to live, I get it. We also didn't have the internet. So we didn't have the opinions of others coming into our home to influence us. We didn't have all the mental health education that we do have. And I will say, even with that, I know a lot of us are still like getting it wrong, and a lot of our kids are still suffering, and a lot of our kids feel like they can't regulate their emotions because they can't talk without getting yelled at, without getting cussed at, without getting slapped. And it's not fair to them, because then we're setting them up to go out here and continue to be creatures of dysfunction. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Mono. When I look back at me being 18, I was nowhere near grown. Could imagine being thrown down into the world to figure it out, even though I still had to learn things on my own. Yeah, I mean, even at 18, you're not ready. You're not ready. I have a 23-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 23-year-old. And every time they go out and experience life from another angle, they be like, it's okay. I'm going to stay right here. I don't need all that. My 21-year-old come in here all the time. I'm good, Mom. I'm going to go right up to my room. I want to send my kid with every advantage that I can. I want to send my child out into this world with every advantage. I don't want my kid out here struggling, trying to figure out how to pay rent, how they going to get furniture, how they going to get food. I'm not sending them out there for that. I'm not sending them out there to live in the hood because this is all they can afford. I'm not doing that. And here we go. And I hate, it's kind of hard to have these conversations because there's always somebody there. But okay, so let's talk about the rule and not the exception. In general, it is your job to, as the Bible says, train up a child in the way that they should go. And when they are grown, they will not depart from it. I wouldn't say that's gentle parenting, but normal parenting for human beings with their emotions intact. Fussing, cussing, and slapping ain't called for most things. Okay, so let me say this as well. I come from I'm gonna show you one time and then you have to do it. It wasn't a lot of instructing. It was more of, here, watch me do this, and now you can do it too. Okay. And so I kind of put that expectation on my kids, right? Because if I had to, this is how I had to grow up. So, you do it too. But it took my husband to kind of tell me, like, okay, slow down. Did you walk them through it? And why do you expect them to know it the first time? Like, they're kids. You know that, right? And so it took him to bring that to my mind to make me realize, like, wait a minute, these are kids. Like, they are kids. Like, we have been working on multiplication for years. I want to say like 2-3 years, right? And even with that, I was like, no, y'all should know it all by now. I'm getting tired of this, blah, 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 blah. But in school, how many years are you reviewing multiplication? How many years are you reviewing adding? How many different ways are you taught to do something? Like right now, Atticus is learning strategies for addition. They done taught this boy like 3 or 4 different ways to add numbers. And so clearly from watching how education progresses, This is the model that I need to employ in my parenting. So come on, let me show you how to do this. Come on, I'm about to do it again. Do you have any questions? Okay, do you think you're ready to do this by yourself now? I'm going to stay here and help you. It's not here, do this, and you saw me do it, and you should know how to do it. That's not how it is. But that kind of thinking comes from being stressed out, being tired, not having any patience. That's where that kind of thinking comes from. And if we love it starts with loving yourself. And like, I hate to keep saying that because it's like so cliche. Like, okay, we get it. We're supposed to love ourselves. And so like, yeah, I hate to keep saying it over and over again, but you can't love anything. You can't even love another adult if you haven't figured out how to love yourself. If you haven't figured out how to be gracious with yourself. If you haven't figured out how to be patient and how to persevere with yourself, you're never going to be able to share that with someone. And that is a part of love. It is much easier to love your children when you have money. I'm just going to be real with you guys. I told my husband not too long ago, I know that his heart is good toward me. Like, I know that in his heart, he only wants to do good toward me. How do I know this? Because every time he has an opportunity to do good towards me, he does. He gets my car clean. Oh gosh, y'all, he got my car cleaned yesterday and left me the prettiest gold covered flower. It's so freaking pretty. I have it upstairs in my kitchen. But it's just stuff like that. Little surprise cash apps. When he like, he'll see me eating dinner, right? And he'll come in the room and see me eating, and he'll put the food up for me. He might come in there and fuss a little bit, but he'll go ahead and put the food up for me. Every now and then when he has time, he'll cook dinner for me. Like, whenever he has the opportunity to do good by me, he does. And that's how I can say with all confidence, this man's heart means to do good for me. As a parent, can your children say that about you? Are you being good to them every opportunity that you can? That is hard when you are poor. I'm just going to be honest with you. It is hard when you are poor because you can't afford to say yes. You have to constantly say no. You have to constantly say no. And then, of course, they're going to want to know why. And then you have to tell them, well, I don't have any money. How do you feel? I know how I have felt at times when I've had to tell my kids we can't afford it. I felt like crap. That made me feel like a failure because why didn't I prepare myself better? And I'm not saying people don't go through phases. Listen, especially as business owners, like, we definitely have been through our phases where money gets tight, but I'm still able to do good toward my children. I'm talking to y'all that don't prepare at all. You working at McDonald's, Wendy's, heck, you might even have a halfway decent job, but as you know, that salary ain't stretching so far these days. And instead of having the benefit of a double income household, you subjected yourself to a single income household. And now hear me, because I know y'all, well, Miss Mono, you don't work. Y'all are a single income household. No, I contribute to what goes on around here. Even on some days when my contribution is just cooking dinner, cooking breakfast, educating the kids, and keeping the house clean. No, I contribute to what goes on around here because that man can't function if he don't eat. He can't function if his house ain't clean. He can't think about anything else if his kids aren't being educated. So stay-at-home moms, don't ever let anybody tell you that you weren't doing anything. I literally keep this thing running. All praises to the Most High. But what I'm talking about is those of you who keep getting pregnant, keep getting pregnant, keep getting pregnant. Listen, once is a mistake, twice maybe, but 3 is just a good time. And we have to remember, we come from a people of standards. I can vaguely remember when black girls were not for hunching on. White girls were for hunching on. That's why they started calling it Becky, because that's what Becky's would do. That was not something that black girls did. Black girls didn't act like that. You would get pregnant as a teenager and they would send you away because they were ashamed to have an unwed mother in their family. And we look at that, that is so wrong. That is so mean. No, it's not. Listen, it's not. It's not. We went from sending the unwed pregnant away so that they could hide their shame to now we having baby showers and celebrating the shame, and you won't call it the shame anymore because you want to be so nice to everybody. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and all you're doing is setting up a generation of women and children for failure. I read about a 11-year-old. An 11-year-old was riding in a car. He was a passenger in a car. I guess the 16-year-olds was the ops or whatever. So somehow the 16-year-old winded up in the car with the 11-year-old. The 11-year-old kills the 16-year-old. Okay. But the 11-year-old was not being charged with murder because it was self-defense. They determined that the 16-year-old was beating up on the 11-year-old. So when the 11-year-old shot him, that was not murder. He got off with self-defense, but he's being charged with felony firearm possession. Felony firearm possession. And so, of course, everybody's question is, where are the parents? Where are the parents? How's your child? And I think the child that was driving might have been like 14. I want to say it was a 14-year-old involved. Where is y'all parents? And now I'm not one to blame parents for everything because listen, I definitely had my share of stories of things that I did when I was a teenager that my mother would not approve of. Okay. So I know that. But to get to the point where we're carrying guns and shooting people, and now this child's life is gone. If he ever gets out of jail, well, he's a juvenile, so he might get out when he's 18, okay? Or 21, whatever the age is. All right, but let's say he do get out when he's 21. He has spent his formative years in an institution with someone telling him when to wake up, someone telling him when to go to the bathroom. He's having to keep boys off his booty hole. He has no chance to develop any kind of interpersonal relationships with girls. And so when you release this 21-year-old out into the wild, how is he going to adapt? When you don't want to be bothered with your kid, you're not just not being bothered with them for the moment. And listen, I'm not saying that there aren't some days when you can't tell your kid, listen, baby, mama need a break. Okay. I have those times. When we take breaks from school, I tell them, all right, I'm giving y'all a break. Now, you can either give me a break too, or we can continue working. That's usually enough for them to be like, all right, and they'll go and, do their little 15, 30 minutes, and then we get back to it. I'm not saying that there aren't times when it's okay to hey, can you give me a minute? Like, mama need a minute. But talk to the kid. Don't just get out my face. I don't feel like being bothered right now. Leave me alone. Why do you expect your child to go to school and make A's and B's? You want them to count ABC 1, 2, 3, but you won't give them enough credit to their intelligence that they can understand, okay, mommy's tired. Mommy don't feel good right now. It's either that or you say it all the time. And so you know that your kid know that you feel it. And if you realize that you say it all the time because You're tired because of this, because of that. That brings me to another topic. When you fail to take care of your health, you fail to take care of your children. It's a show on TLC called 1,000-Pound Best Friends, right? Is that the show? 1,000-Pound Roomies. It's 1,000-Pound Roomies. Y'all, listen, I don't know my obsession with fat shows. I don't know why I'm like this. Like, at first, I just started watching it to kind of motivate me. Like, okay, I need to get up. Because, look, at one time, the pounds was just coming on. I was going through perimenopause and my hormones was acting up. And I woke up and I had a tire around my belly out of nowhere. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, why am I eating like this? Da 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 da. So yeah, I would watch them shows to kind of help, but then I just got into it. Like, I don't know why I'd be fascinated with this stuff. So on this show, 1,000-Pound Roomies, one of the roommates she was like 630 pounds when the show started. She was 630 pounds. She couldn't hardly walk. They took the girl to the pool. She like, I want to say 12 or 14, something like that. So they took the daughter to the pool, but she couldn't do anything with her. Like she walked to the pool, she sat down, she got on the first step, and then she just plopped down. Like she couldn't move anymore. In another episode, they took the baby to the park, but they had to call, because both of them big. So they had to call one of their moms to come with them because they was too big to run around the park with the child. Okay. And hear me, I'm not saying you got to be big to have these problems. A lot of y'all is small, but you don't ever exercise. And so therefore, yes, your body feels tired all the time. A lot of y'all are small, but you don't want to eat right. And so, yes, your body is tired all the time. I'm not saying that once you start exercising and eating right, that you're going to turn into Wonder Woman. But you will notice a difference in the amount of energy that you have. You will notice a difference in your mental state. You will notice a difference in your endurance. You'll notice a difference in your patience. It makes a difference, okay? Listen, your body is controlled by hormones. Everything is controlled by hormones. And what is in a lot of these meats that we eat? Hormones. I'm not saying not to eat meat, because Lord knows I love me a good side of steak, okay? So I'm not saying not to eat meat, but are you balancing that with any vegetables? When's the last time y'all had a vegetable? And I'm not just talking junk, because once again, even though we're the minority population, Black women lead in obesity. It is very commonly known, Black girls don't exercise, Black girls don't work out. Nobody's surprised when they see a fat Black person. We're known for this. We sit around and we eat, y'all sit around and y'all like to eat pig and any other dead animal that you can put your hands on and stuff yourself with it. First of all, you shouldn't be eating pork. Let's talk about that. You're literally eating trash, pus, infection, and other animals' feces, okay? And then you won't even get up and go for a walk. They'll tell you all you got to do is walk 30 minutes a day. It's one episode of a sitcom. One episode of a sitcom. When you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. If you don't care enough about yourself to take care of your body, how are you going to be an active participant in your children's lives? Because they don't want to sit in the house all day and watch TV. They're kids. They want to go outside. They want to play, and they want you to play with them. I don't know. Like, look at the life of a baby, okay? They live inside of you for 10 months. They come outside to a world full of commotion, right? It's people standing all around. It's lights. Somebody slapping them on the butt. They turning them upside down. They in this hard blanket. And then they finally put them in your arms and you're going to breastfeed. And then they come to realize, okay, this is my mom. This is my source of comfort. This is what I've been smelling. This is the person I've been hearing. This is all I've known since I've been conscious. A helpless baby, can't even feed themselves, can't use the bathroom for themselves, can't even do anything. Okay. Even as they mature, but they are still infants, you are still their only source of comfort, or you're their main source of comfort. I'm not going to say only. If you have a husband, then, but you as a mom, especially if you breastfeed, you are their main source of comfort. They don't want to be away from you. They love you. They are under the assumption that you feel good about them as you make them feel about you. So imagine the heartbreak when the person who your world is based on suddenly doesn't have time for you, doesn't want to be bothered with you. Y'all know how y'all feel when your boyfriend stopped calling, or when he stopped paying you so much attention. You be heartbroken, disheveled, throwing temper tantrums, tearing up cars, burning down people's houses. It goes down. Call yourself crashing out. What do you think the emotional response is for a kid whose mom all of a sudden stopped showing interest in them? They may be too young to put it in words, and that makes it even worse. I know my boys are very expressive, right? So if something's wrong, I can tell. It'll be on their face, or especially Paxton. Like, and when Paxton is done with something, like we're doing schoolwork and he just can't take it no more, his eyes get low like this. And I'm like, Paxton, why are you doing that? He can't help. This is his shutdown face. I'm shut down. Right. So now I got to talk to him and work with him and encourage him and get his eyes all the way back open so we can continue doing what we're doing. Okay. I don't know if he has the words to tell me what that feels like for him, but it's my job as his parent to look and try to relate to whatever he is expressing to me. I understand the shutdown because I do that a lot. You don't believe me? Ask my husband. I used to be really bad at this. And sometimes I do it now too. But when I do it now, it's to prevent escalation, right? It's to prevent escalation. And so if he's saying something and I'm not agreeing with it, and I told y'all I don't yell. Like I learned to stop trying to have the yelling competition because I'm never gonna win. I will silence. I ain't got nothing to say. I'm not gonna try to argue over you. So when you're ready to talk to me, you can come and talk to me. But for right now, silence. I have the words to express that, right? I recognize that behavior in my child. So let me walk you through it. Let's work it out together. This is another reason why you need to have both sets of parents in your child's life, because it's half of your DNA and half of his DNA. And a part of that DNA is personality traits, okay? So when your kid starts doing weird stuff and it starts freaking you out and you're wondering, where did you even get this from? Here's where dad comes in and be like, oh yeah, I used to do that too when I was little. That's another reason why you're supposed to have both parents around. Paxton is very quiet and very withdrawn. Atticus is very gregarious and very personable. I feel like me and my husband can both relate to Paxton, right? Even though I'm still very much the quiet, withdrawn. My husband was like that when he was younger. And so, but even more so, he notices similarities in the behavior with Paxton, right? And so now, instead of taking it as disrespect when he don't want to talk, we understand, like, okay, he going through something in his brain. Let's let him work it out, and then we'll continue talking. If you don't have the other person to give you that other perspective, you wind up yelling at your kid, abusing your kid. You wind up taking their behaviors as signs of disrespect when it's not that. And now you're creating problems, you're creating tension, you're punishing your child, and they don't even know why. God did not place order for fun. He did not give us decency and order because he ain't have nothing else to do, and he was trying to figure out how can we prevent these people from having a good time. That's not what it is at all. If anything, the law of God is the confines of which you can enjoy your life and be safe. You can enjoy your life. My husband made a post the other day about teaching that this wonderful pastor did, where he was talking about drinking is not the sin. Being a drunkard is the sin. Drunkenness is the sin, but drinking is not the sin. My dad tells me stories all the time about how him and my mom used to hang out. They used to go to the pool hall. They used to go fishing. And my dad liked his beer. So they would grab a 6-pack and go do their thing or have a couple drinks while they was playing pool. They used to hang out. He'd be like, yeah, she was my best friend. We used to hang out. Da 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 da. But then she started going to church and being told that drinking was a sin. So now she can't hang out with my dad anymore. They can't go kick it no more because my dad gonna have a drink. My mom believes this is a sin now. And so now their relationship is just gone. We don't have to live crazy to have a good life. I promise you, there is so much more fulfillment when you are obedient to the one who created you. Y'all know I love video games, so I got to throw in a video game analogy now. Some games, you cannot walk off the path. Like Legend of Zelda. I'm just trying to think of all. Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers.
No, Fortnite.
Fortnite?
Yeah.
You can run anywhere on Fortnite though, right?
No, you just can't like walk off the map.
Do you have the ability to walk off the map? Will a game let you and then you die, or you just can't walk off the map?
No, like there's like a blocker, like invisible shield that won't let you.
Really? Y'all heard that? Okay, thank you, Atticus. He said there's an invisible shield on Fortnite that won't let you walk off the map. Okay, so let's take that.
Like you spawn somewhere on Spawn Island and it won't let you go back there.
Okay. There's an invisible shield that won't let you walk off the map. Okay. If for some reason you decide to hack the game and go off the map, the game is over for you. The game is over for you. In a video game, like he said, you'll spawn somewhere else and you can start and play again. But in life, that fall off the map.
Once you fall off, you can never get back up.
Sometimes you don't get back up. Sometimes the fall off the map is a bump on the head. Sometimes it's a punch to the gut. Sometimes it's something that takes you years to come back from. In order to love your kids, you have to love yourself. And in order to love yourself, you have to love God and you have to embrace his laws. The keeping of God's law is an act of love to yourself, to your family, to your neighbors, to everyone around you. And this is what we fail to understand. Love is an action word. Y'all just want to read love is patient, love is kind, it has self-control, it does this and does that, but you don't understand that this is literally about how you walk out your life. Paxton Atticus, ladies and gentlemen. Where is your shirt, Paxton? Do your daddy know you don't have a shirt on?
You just gave me your fist bump.
I don't know what's going on with it's been a no shirt summer in my house, and apparently I guess they trying to make it a no shirt school year. I don't know. They might put their shirts back on in January. I'm not sure. Zipporah Israel, Shalom and Shalom, sis. Thank you for joining me. with the info for the show. Right, coming down and dropping that Fortnite knowledge. Appreciate you. Y'all got anything to add before we wrap up? How's school been going for you guys? Good. Y'all enjoying it? Yeah.
A little bit.
You like your teachers?
I just don't like waking up that early.
You don't like waking up that early? Y'all would have to wake up a lot earlier if you went to regular school.
I know.
You would have to be up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Mom, but we're not in regular school.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, you should appreciate that you don't have to wake up until 8 o'clock. And then sometimes you don't wake up until after 8 o'clock. But is it cool? Mm-hmm. They don't realize how good they have it being able to do school at home. I tell them that all the time. I get up, like, I've been cooking breakfast. I cook lunch. Some days I cook lunch. Some days I cook breakfast. But I always cook dinner. Even if I don't cook, like, there's food here that they can eat. They can go in their refrigerator and get the food that they want. I be trying to tell them, listen, we used to get up at the butt crack of dawn, like the sun wouldn't even be up yet, had to stand outside at the bus stop, had to eat whatever they gave us for breakfast, wait until they tell you could eat lunch. It wasn't no snacks. It wasn't no potty breaks. It wasn't like none of that.
I understand how hard it was back then.
Do you? I don't think you do understand.
I do.
I was like way young, like when I was under 10, before the turn up kicked in. Really, this boy right here. Yeah, like I be trying to explain to them like how blessed they really are. But anyway, all right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for kicking it with me tonight. I know this was a more serious message, and I really, really hope that this will resonate with you guys. I am kind of focusing on more of us as individuals. Now, I don't know how long we're going to be moving in this vein. But I feel like it's something that needs to be discussed, it needs to be studied, and it needs to be talked about. We are at a pivotal time as a people, I feel like, and we can either get back right with God, or we can continue going down the paths of destruction. Right? But I don't know if you guys are noticing. It's always us. One black person is never just one black person. One black person represents the whole black community. Okay. So when something like this happens, it affects all of us. Okay. When you have moms killing their children, now people are like, black women don't love their kids, even though, let's be clear, women of all races are out here killing their children. But let's get it. Let's get it together for us and our kids, okay? Let me see. Do I have anything else? No, I don't have nothing else to tell y'all. I will see y'all. What?
I was just saying, I just said for no reason.
Huh?
I just said for no reason.
Oh, okay. Don't forget to follow me at Miss Mono's World on your favorite streaming platform, favorite social media network, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and I'm on Snapchat, all the places the content creators be. Like, share, subscribe when you see my stuff anywhere, okay? Like it, share it, leave a comment, please. I need your likes. I need your comments. That's the only way that the algorithm recognizes that my stuff needs to be pushed out. So please, y'all, my content is monetized, okay? So if you ever sitting at home, like, I would love to bless Miss Mono, and I know, y'all might have that. You can donate here at the Cash App, $ the House of Mono. $1 or $2 will do.
That was so predictable.
Yeah, because I say it all the time. $1 or $2 will do. Or when you come across my content, like, comment, share it. If you have stars, send stars, or whatever the giving currency is. Like on TikTok it's something else, but I know on Facebook it's stars. So, that's the way you can support us. Donating to the Cash App and supporting our content. Support my husband's content. When you see his stuff out there, like it, share it, send it to your friends, all that other stuff. Why you move my fan, boy?
Because it's blowing into my eyes. It's
Bree, my homegirl, when we was at F3, when we was at F3, it was hot. It was hot. We was at the meet and greet, right? And as per usual, they underestimated what F3 can do. And you know how it is when you Negroes get in one small place. So yeah, it was a little hot in there, right? So I was I was struggling. Bree came through with this fan. And I immediately went to Amazon. I was like, oh no, I need one of these. It's like in my own personal little wind tunnel. I love this thing. Okay. Let me see what else. I ordered off Amazon. If you want the link, just DM me and I'll send it to you. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I love you so much. I hope something that I said was helpful, whether you're listening live or on the replay. Send it to a friend, share it with them, send it to your aunts, uncles, and cousins, you know, the whole family. Is that it? You guys have anything else? I will see you right back here next Thursday, 8 o'clock, same black time, same black.
Wait.
But
make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave a comment, and I don't know.
All right, I love you so much. Shalom, shalom, and good night.
Doing gang things.
Mono.
Living super clean. Daddy came up.
One time for my king doing king things. Mom these hoes cause he know he got a good thing. I
Tune in to Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass with your host, Miss Mono.
Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins, and praise the Lord saints. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mono.
Every Thursday from 8 to 10 p.m. Live on YouTube at Miss Mono's World and Monologue Magog. Now also available on the Saya TV on Roku and Fire Stick. Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass. Don't miss it, sisters and cousins.